North and Sons.
Maybe it's a perfect place to chase away the ghosts if your husband is accused of sex abuse. Laurie Fine, whose husband Bernie was fired from his job as assistant basketball coach at Syracuse University after allegations surfaced he abused two ball boys. Well, she will hold a press conference in just about an hour at a haunted castle in Geneva, New York. The castle boasts a ghostly woman who sighs and moans. Against this backdrop, Mrs. Fine will talk publicly for the first time about the sex abuse allegations that have haunted she and her husband Bernie, who at one time was a well-respected assistant basketball coach at Syracuse University, until, of course, ESPN released a taped phone conversation between Laurie Fine and one of Bernie Fine's accusers, former ball boy Bobby Davis.
You know what? I'm pretty sure there's 80 boys. Find yourself a gay boy. Get your friends off. Have it be over with. He says that they don't companionship there. I can't give it, nor is he interested in me, and vice versa.
Syracuse University fired Bernie Fine even though he denied the allegations. No charges have been filed against him, although a federal investigation does continue. Until now, Mrs. Fine has never spoken publicly about how these allegations have ruined her life. Until now. Lawrence Fisher and Kevin Tucker are Mrs. Fine's attorneys. Welcome to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You guys just sent me a copy of the lawsuit Laurie Fine is filing against ESPN. And Lawrence, I just want to ask you, why is the lawsuit against ESPN?
Well, ESPN published worldwide defamatory statements about Laurie Fine, and they have essentially ruined her life, destroyed her reputation in the Syracuse community that she loved and served for so many years. And so, for that reason, we are seeking to hold ESPN accountable for their reprehensible actions.
Laurie, we played that phone call, that taped phone conversation that ESPN aired. Laurie Fine did say this in a taped phone conversation. She said, and I'm going to quote here, "He, Bernie Fine, needs male companionship that I can't give him." If the allegations against ESPN are true, how do you explain that, Kevin?
Well, that statement is taken entirely out of context. She's talking about Bobby Davis, of course, not her husband. And frankly, when you look at the audio tape that has been released, the selective portions of it released out of context, where 48 minutes of that tape exist, but only about 2 or 3 minutes have been released. Much of the tape is inaudible, and we really have a situation here where there was a manipulation of that audio tape in order to present Ms. Fine in a derogatory fashion so as to attack her husband.
So who do you allege doctored the tape?
Well, ESPN certainly changed the audio quality of the tape, produced only portions of it, and did so in out-of-context fashion, such that the tape seriously misleads and misrepresents the conversation that occurred.
But why not file a lawsuit against Bobby Davis, since he provided the tape to ESPN?
When you look at the complaint, you'll see that much of the relationship between Laurie Fine and Bobby Davis was one where she attempted for years to nurture him, for years to try and get him to better himself and to make something out of his life. She has always had a reservoir of sympathy for him. However misguided his actions are in this situation, she has no intentions of seeking to harm him in any way. She never has, and she never will.
And just a final question. I know Laurie Fine is going to speak at a press conference in just about an hour. I know that she is still married to Bernie Fine. They still live in the same house in Syracuse. Will Laurie Fine share what her life is like now?
Most definitely. Laurie will issue a statement today and explain how tremendously difficult it has been for her to endure this public scrutiny, this defamation, and really this vendetta against her family. She will speak to you today as a mother, as a wife, as a grandmother.
Thanks to you both. We'll be following the press conference that's set to take place at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks to both of you for appearing with us earlier. We appreciate it.